The radar screen glowed softly in the dim light of the monitoring station. Yuna leaned closer, her large eyes reflecting the green lines that swept across the display. She had been working this shift for 6 hours now, and nothing unusual had happened. That was normal for patrol duty on the edge of Andari Confederation space. Most days were quiet. Most days were boring. She took a sip from her drink container and stretched her arms above her head. The Velkaris was a decent ship, not too big and not too small. It had a crew of 45 beings from different species, all working together to watch the borders of known space. Yuna was the youngest technician on board, fresh out of the academy with high marks but little real experience. Her supervisor, Tarek, sat 3 stations away, looking half asleep. He was an older male from the Valorian species with gray skin and tired eyes. He had been doing this job for 20 years and always said that nothing exciting ever happened out here. Yuna was about to prove him wrong. A soft beep came from her console. She looked down and saw a new contact appearing on the edge of her scanner range. That was not unusual. Ships passed through this area sometimes, traders mostly, sometimes explorers, but something about this signal made her pause. The energy signature was strange. It was not like any ship she had seen before. The power output was lower than modern vessels, almost primitive, but the efficiency was remarkable. Whoever built this ship knew how to do more with less. She ran a quick analysis. The hull composition came back with results that made no sense. The materials were old, ancient even. Carbon steel alloys, titanium framework, basic ceramic plating. These were materials that civilized species stopped using thousands of years ago. Yuna felt her heart beat faster. She pulled up the ship database and started searching for a match. The computer worked through millions of registered designs, comparing the signature against every known vessel type in the galaxy. No match found. She ran it again, this time including historical records. The search took longer. The computer dug deeper into archives that most people never accessed, files from the old days before the Confederation existed. Then the screen flashed. Match found. Classification, human design. Origin, Earth. Era, pre-diaspora period. Yuna stared at the words. That was impossible. Humans were not real. They were stories, legends that parents told their children, the mythical species that destroyed themselves before they could reach the stars. Every schoolchild knew the tales. Humans were supposed to be aggressive, dangerous, capable of surviving anything, but they were also supposed to be extinct, gone for thousands of years. She looked at the signal again. It was still there, steady and real, and it was getting closer. Her hands trembled slightly as she pressed the communication button. "Supervisor Tarek, I need you to look at something." Tarek groaned and pushed himself out of his chair. He walked over slowly, clearly annoyed at being disturbed. "What is it, Yuna? Another asteroid?" "No, sir. I have an unidentified vessel. The computer matched it to a human ship." Tarek laughed, a short barking sound. "Human? Come on, Yuna, your sensors are malfunctioning. Humans are not real. They are myths. But the signature matches, sir. Look at the data." Tarek leaned over her shoulder and squinted at the screen. His expression changed from amusement to confusion. He tapped a few controls, running his own analysis. The same results came back. "This is a sensor error," he said firmly. "The computer is pulling corrupted data from old files. Humans never made it to space. Everyone knows this. But what if the stories are wrong?" Yuna asked quietly. "What if they did survive?" Tarek shook his head. "I will report this to the captain as a technical malfunction. Keep monitoring, but do not spread rumors about humans. You will cause panic." He walked away, already dismissing the incident, but Yuna could not look away from her screen. The signal was getting stronger. The ship was definitely heading toward them. She could see it more clearly now, picking up details that made her breath catch. The vessel was smaller than the Velkaris, maybe a quarter of the size. Its design was angular and practical, with none of the smooth curves that modern ships favored. It looked tough, built to last. There were scorch marks on the hull, evidence of damage from weapons or impacts. This ship had been through something difficult. Yuna made a decision. She opened a direct channel to the bridge, bypassing Tarek entirely. "Captain J, this is Radar Station 3. I have a priority contact that requires your immediate attention." A moment later, the captain's voice came through, deep and authoritative. This is Captain J. What is the situation, Technician Yuna? Sir, I have detected an unidentified vessel matching human design characteristics. It is approaching our position and will be within communication range in 15 minutes. There was a long silence. Then the captain spoke again, his tone more serious. Human design? Explain. Yuna transmitted all her data to the bridge. She could imagine the captain and his senior officers looking at the same information she had, seeing the same impossible results. Her console showed that the captain had opened the historical archives himself, verifying her findings. All stations, this is Captain J. We have a potential first contact situation. I want full sensor sweeps of the approaching vessel. Tactical, bring weapons to standby but do not lock on. Communications, prepare standard greeting protocols in Galactic Common. This is not a drill. The ship came alive around Yuna. She could hear crew members running through corridors, voices calling out reports, systems powering up. The quiet, boring shift had become something else entirely. Tarek rushed back to her station, his face showing shock. The captain believes you? The data does not lie, sir, Yuna replied, feeling a strange mix of fear and excitement. If that ship is really human, everything we thought we knew about galactic history is wrong. On her screen, the contact grew closer. Yuna zoomed in, trying to see more details. There were markings on the hull, writing in a script she did not recognize. Human writing, if the legends were true. The ship had running lights that blinked in a steady pattern, a sign that someone was alive inside. The communication officer's voice came over the ship-wide system. Attention, all crew. The unknown vessel has responded to our hailing frequency. They are requesting permission to approach for repairs and supplies. They identify themselves as the Wandering Star, registered to Earth. Yuna felt her skin tingle. Earth, the mythical homeworld, the death world that supposedly spawned the most dangerous species in the galaxy. And now a ship from that world was asking to dock with them. Captain J's voice returned. Prepare to receive guests. Security teams to the main airlock. Medical staff on standby. And someone get me everything we have in the archives about human biology and culture. We are about to meet a species that should not exist. Yuna saved all her sensor data and stood up. She had to be part of this. She had discovered them first. As she headed toward the main airlock, her mind raced with questions. What would humans look like? Would they be as dangerous as the stories said? Were they friend or enemy? In a few minutes, she would find out. The impossible was about to become real. Captain J stood on the bridge with his hands clasped behind his back. His orange skin had gone pale, a sign of stress in his species. Around him, the senior officers watched the main view screen, where the human ship slowly approached. The Wandering Star looked even more primitive up close, but there was something impressive about it too. It had survived out here in the darkness of space, far from any support. Distance? The captain asked. 500 meters in closing, the tactical officer reported. Their weapons are powered down. No signs of aggression. That means nothing. With humans, muttered the first officer, a female named Kira. She was reading from a data pad, reviewing the old legends. The stories say they are always dangerous, even when they seem peaceful. They evolved on a death world. Everything there tried to kill them, so they learned to kill back. Captain J nodded slowly. I remember those stories from childhood, but stories are not facts. We will follow proper first contact protocols. They asked for help and we will provide it. But stay alert. Down in the main corridor, Yuna rushed toward the airlock. She had never moved so fast in her life. Other crew members were already gathering, security officers in their armor, medical staff with scanners ready, and several scientists who wanted to observe. Tarek caught up with her, breathing hard. The captain wants you on the contact team. Me? Why? Because you are the one who found them, and because you studied the human legends more than anyone else on this ship. Tarek looked worried. Are you sure about this, Yuna? Those creatures might be dangerous. They asked for help, Yuna said. If they wanted to hurt us, they would have attacked already. But her hands were shaking. She gripped them together to hide her nervousness. The security chief, a massive male named Vorin, handed her a small device. Translator and recorder. Keep it on at all times. If anything goes wrong, get behind us. The airlock door was sealed, waiting. Through a small window, Yuna could see the docking tube extending toward the human ship. Metal connected with metal, locking mechanisms engaged. Green lights appeared on the control panel, showing a secure connection. Captain J's voice came through the communication system. "Contact team, you are authorized to proceed. Remember, we are meeting a species that has been isolated for thousands of years. Be respectful, be cautious, and be ready for anything." Vorin entered commands on the control panel. The airlock door hissed and began to open. Yuna held her breath. On the other side of that door were humans, real living humans, the species that everyone thought was just a story. The door slid fully open. 3 figures stood in the docking tube, waiting politely. They were smaller than Yuna expected, roughly her own height. Their skin was various shades of brown and tan, their hair black and straight. They wore simple uniforms, dark blue with patches on the shoulders. Their faces were smooth, with small noses and mouths, eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. The one in front stepped forward. He was male, with broad shoulders and a calm expression. When he smiled, it showed white teeth. "Greetings. I am Captain Jinho of the Wandering Star. Thank you for allowing us to dock. We have been traveling for a long time and our ship needs repairs." His voice was clear and steady. He spoke Galactic Common perfectly, with only a slight accent. Yuna realized she had been expecting something else, maybe a growl or a roar. But this human sounded friendly, even kind. Behind Jinho stood a female with sharp, intelligent eyes. She carried a toolkit on her belt. "I am Minji, Chief Engineer. Our main power converter failed 3 weeks ago. We have been limping along on backup systems." The third human was another female, shorter with gentle features. "I am Hyun, Medical Officer. If any of your crew needs assistance, I have training in several species biology. We can exchange knowledge." For a moment, nobody moved. The aliens stared at the humans. The humans waited patiently, still smiling. It was Yuna who finally stepped forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "You are real." Jinho's smile grew wider. "Yes, we are real. I know what the galaxy thinks. We have heard the stories about ourselves. Extinct, mythical, dangerous. But we survived, and now we are returning to the stars." Vorin moved beside Yuna, his weapon lowered but ready. "Captain Jinho, we must ask, where have your people been? Why did you disappear?" Jinho's expression became more serious. "That is a long story. We did not disappear by choice. We were forced to retreat after a war that nearly destroyed us. We have spent the last 3,000 years rebuilding in isolation, hidden in deep space. Now we are strong enough to explore again." 3,000 years, Tarek whispered. "That matches the timeline of when the legends say humans vanished." Minji shifted her toolkit and glanced at the corridor around them. "Your ship has good design, clean power flow, efficient systems. May I examine your engineering section?" "I learn better by seeing." One of the scientists, a thin male named Rico, nodded eagerly. Yes, of course. And perhaps you could show us your technology?" "We are very curious about human engineering." "Fair exchange," Minji agreed. "I would like that." Captain J appeared at the end of the corridor, walking slowly toward them. His guards flanked him, but he waved them back. When he reached the airlock, he looked at the 3 humans with a mixture of wonder and concern. "I am Captain J of the Velcaris. Your arrival has surprised us greatly. We believed your species was extinct." Jinho extended his hand, a gesture that Yuna recognized from old records. A handshake, a sign of peace and agreement among humans. Captain J hesitated, then reached out. Their hands clasped, and Jinho shook firmly but not aggressively. "We understand your surprise. We have become ghosts in our own galaxy. But we are here now, and we mean no harm. We only need repairs and supplies. Then we will continue our journey." "Where are you going?" Captain J asked. "To the Confederation hub station. We want to announce our return properly, through official channels. We hope to establish diplomatic relations with the other species." Captain J considered this carefully. "That is a wise approach. However, I must warn you. Many species fear humans. The legends paint your kind as extremely dangerous. Hyun spoke gently. We understand fear. We have feared many things in our history, but we have learned that fear can be overcome through understanding and cooperation. We do not wish to be enemies with anyone. Yuna found herself relaxing slightly. These humans did not seem like monsters. They were polite, intelligent, and they smiled easily. Maybe the legends were exaggerated. Maybe humans were not as dangerous as everyone thought. Captain J made his decision. Very well. We will provide the repairs and supplies you need. In exchange, I ask that you share information about your people. The galaxy deserves to know the truth about humans. Agreed, Jinho said. We have nothing to hide. The captain turned to his crew. Escort our guests to the conference room, provide them with food and rest. Engineering teams will assess the damage to their ship and begin repairs immediately. As the group moved through the corridors, other crew members stopped to stare. Word had spread quickly. Humans were on board. Real living humans. Some looked frightened, backing away. Others looked curious, trying to get closer for a better view. Yuna walked beside Hyun, gathering courage to speak. I have studied the legends about your people my whole life. I never thought I would meet a real human. Hyun smiled at her. What do the legends say? They say humans are survivors, that you come from a world so dangerous that every day is a fight to live. They say you never give up, no matter how bad things become. They say you are capable of great kindness and great violence. Those legends are not entirely wrong, Hyun admitted. Earth was difficult, but it taught us valuable lessons. We learned to adapt, to help each other, to keep going even when hope seemed lost. Yes, we can be violent when necessary, but we prefer peace. They reached the conference room, a large space with comfortable seating and a view of the stars. The humans sat down, accepting offered drinks and food. Jinho looked around at the assembled aliens and began to speak. Let me tell you the true story of humanity. Not the legend, but the reality. And for the next 2 hours, Yuna listened with complete attention as the impossible became real. The conference room fell silent as Jinho began his story. Every eye was fixed on him, every ear listening carefully. Even the crew members who had duties elsewhere found excuses to linger near the door, wanting to hear the truth about humans. Our homeworld, Earth, is a planet of extremes, Jinho said, his voice calm and steady. Vast oceans cover most of the surface. The weather changes constantly, from gentle warmth to killing cold. Storms can destroy entire regions. Earthquakes shake the ground. Volcanoes pour fire from the mountains. And the life there, the plants and animals. They all compete fiercely to survive, Minji added. We evolved alongside predators that could run faster than us, climb better than us, had sharper teeth and claws. We should have died out, but we had something they did not. We had clever minds and working hands. We learned to make tools, to use fire, to work together in groups. We became the greatest hunters on Earth, Hyun continued, her voice soft but proud. Not because we were strong, but because we were smart and we never gave up. We could chase prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. We could plan, adapt, overcome any challenge. Yuna leaned forward in her seat. But the legends say you destroyed yourselves. They say humans fought terrible wars and poisoned your own planet. Jinho's expression grew sad. That part is true. We did fight wars. We did harm our world. For thousands of years, we struggled with our own nature. We were violent and peaceful, destructive and creative, selfish and loving all at the same time. We made terrible mistakes, but we learned, Minji said firmly. We almost destroyed ourselves, yes, but we stopped before it was too late. We united as one species, cleaned our planet, and reached for the stars together. We built ships and went exploring. We were ready to meet other species, to join the galactic community. Captain J interrupted carefully. The records say humanity vanished about 3,000 years ago. What happened? The three humans exchanged glances. Jinho took a deep breath before continuing. We made first contact with a species called the Dral. They seemed friendly at first. They taught us things, helped us improve our technology. We thought we had found allies, friends among the stars. But they were studying us, Hyun said, her voice harder now, learning our weaknesses. They saw humans as a potential threat, a species that might one day challenge their power. So they decided to eliminate us before we grew too strong. The Drawl attacked Earth without warning, Jinho continued. They brought a fleet of warships and began bombarding our colonies. Billions died in the first week. We fought back as hard as we could, but we were too young, too inexperienced. Our weapons were primitive compared to theirs. Voran, the security chief, spoke up. How did you survive? Minji smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Because we are human. We do what we do best. We adapted. We learned. We fought with everything we had. Every ship, every weapon, every person who could hold a tool became part of the resistance. We made them pay for every meter of space they took. The war lasted 5 years, Jinho said. It was brutal. We lost so much. Entire worlds burned. Our population dropped by 90%. But we did not surrender. We could not surrender. That is not in our nature. Eventually, the Drawl realized they could not win without destroying themselves too, Hyun explained. We were making them bleed for their victory, so they proposed a truce. They would leave us alone if we left the known galaxy. They wanted us gone, removed from history. We accepted, Jinho said quietly. Not because we were defeated, but because we needed time. Time to heal, to rebuild, to grow strong enough that nobody would ever threaten us again. So we took our remaining people and ships and went deep into unexplored space. We found new worlds, established new colonies. We hid ourselves away and became nothing more than a legend. The room was completely silent. Yuna felt tears forming in her eyes. The tragedy of it was overwhelming. An entire species, nearly destroyed, forced to abandon their place in the galaxy. Tarek asked the question that everyone was thinking. Why come back now? Because we are ready, Minji said simply. We have rebuilt our civilization. We have thousands of ships, dozens of colonies, billions of people. We are strong again. And we will not hide anymore. But we do not want revenge, Hyun added quickly. The Drawl Empire fell apart centuries ago. Most species do not even remember them. We want peace. We want to trade, to share knowledge, to be part of the galactic community like we always dreamed. Jinho stood and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. We know the galaxy fears us. We have heard the legends about ourselves. Dangerous humans, violent humans, humans who never give up. And those legends are not completely wrong. We are dangerous when threatened. We are capable of great violence when necessary. We will never give up no matter what. He turned back to face them and his expression was sincere. But we are also capable of great friendship, great loyalty, great love. We want to be your allies, not your enemies. We want to explore the universe together and learn from each other. That is why we are traveling to the Confederation hub, to announce our return properly and offer our hand in friendship. Captain J stood as well, processing everything he had heard. This is far beyond my authority to decide. But I believe you, and I think the Confederation needs to hear your story directly. We will escort you to the hub station. Thank you, Jinho said, extending his hand again. The captain took it more confidently this time. Rico, the scientist, could not contain himself anymore. I have so many questions. About Earth, about your biology, about everything. May I study you? Not invasively, just observations and scans. Hyun laughed, a bright, pleasant sound. Of course. We want to learn about you too. Medical exchange would benefit both our species. Minji looked at the engineering staff. And I would very much like to see your engine room now. We have been using old technology for so long. It will be interesting to see how other species have advanced. One of the engineers, excited and nervous, nodded eagerly. Follow me. Our power systems are quite impressive, though I suspect your efficiency might teach us something too. As the group began to break up, people pairing off to share knowledge, Yuna stayed in her seat. She felt overwhelmed by everything she had learned. Humans were real. They had survived impossible odds. They had been betrayed and nearly destroyed, but they had come back. Jinho noticed her sitting alone and walked over. You are the one who detected us first, are you not? Yuna nodded, unable to speak. What is your name? Yuna. Yuna, he repeated, sitting down beside her. You believed in us when nobody else did. That took courage. I just followed the data, she said quietly. The evidence was clear. But you had to convince others to look at that evidence. Many people would have dismissed it, called it a mistake. You pushed forward. That is also a very human trait, by the way. We recognize determination when we see it. Yuna finally looked at him. Are you really not dangerous? Jinho considered the question carefully. We are as dangerous as we need to be. If someone threatens us or our friends, yes, we will fight with everything we have. But if someone offers friendship, We will be the most loyal allies they could ask for. We choose peace whenever possible. But we are always ready for war. That is a frightening thought, perhaps. But it is also a comforting thought, is it not? If we become friends, you will never have to fear any enemy. Humans protect their own. Yuna thought about this. The legends had painted humans as monsters. But sitting here talking with Jinho, she saw something different. She saw survivors who refused to give up. She saw warriors who chose to be kind. She saw a species that could have returned with anger and revenge but instead came back offering friendship. I would like to learn more about Earth, she said. About your culture, your history, everything. Jinho smiled warmly. Then you shall. We have a long journey to the hub station. Plenty of time for stories, and perhaps you can tell me about your species too. We have been isolated for so long. We have much to learn about the modern galaxy. Over the next few hours, as repairs began on the wandering star, humans and aliens worked side by side. Barriers began to break down. Fear turned into curiosity. Curiosity became friendship, and Yuna realized that she was witnessing history. The return of humanity would change everything. The repairs on the wandering star were progressing well. Minji worked alongside the alien engineering crew, her hands moving quickly as she explained human design principles. The aliens watched in fascination as she improved their power distribution system with simple modifications that somehow increased efficiency by 15%. Yuna spent her time between shifts, learning everything she could about humans. Hyun taught her about Earth's diverse ecosystems, showing holographic images of oceans, forests, deserts, and mountains. Jinho shared stories of human exploration, of brave individuals who ventured into unknown territories despite fear and danger. 2 days passed peacefully. The crews of both ships grew comfortable with each other. The initial fear had largely disappeared, replaced by genuine friendship and respect. Several crew members asked if they could visit Earth someday. The humans promised that when official relations were established, visitors would be welcome. On the 3rd day, everything changed. Yuna was at her radar station when the alert came through. Multiple contacts appearing at the edge of sensor range. She immediately ran an analysis and her blood ran cold. 5 ships, medium-sized, moving in a coordinated pattern. The energy signatures matched known raider vessels from the Krill Dominion. The Krill were pirates, scavengers who preyed on vulnerable ships in the outer regions. They took crews as slaves, stripped vessels for parts, and disappeared back into the lawless territories. Nobody had ever successfully fought off a Krill raid. Their ships were heavily armed and they attacked without mercy. "Captain, we have incoming hostiles," Yuna reported, trying to keep her voice steady. "Krill raiders, 5 vessels approaching fast." Captain Jay's response was immediate. "Battle stations. All hands prepare for combat. Engineering, divert all available power to shields." Throughout the ship, alarms began to sound. Crew members rushed to their positions. Varin and his security team armed themselves, though weapons would be useless if the Krill boarded the ship. On the bridge, Captain Jay studied the tactical display. His face showed the grim reality. The Velkaris was a patrol vessel, designed for monitoring and light enforcement. It had defensive weapons, but nothing that could stand against 5 Krill warships. They were outgunned and outnumbered. "Communication officer, send a distress signal to Confederation Command. Tell them our position and situation." "Yes, sir. But nearest reinforcements are 4 hours away." 4 hours. They would all be dead or captured long before help arrived. Captain Jay knew it, and everyone on the bridge knew it too. "Prepare to evacuate non-essential personnel to the escape pods. If we cannot win, at least some can survive." Jinho's voice came through the communication system. "Captain Jay, this is Jinho. We are seeing the same sensor readings. Those are hostile vessels, correct?" "Yes, Krill raiders. We cannot defeat them. I am ordering evacuation procedures." "Wait, before you give up, let us help. My crew knows combat tactics that your people may not. We have experience fighting against overwhelming odds." Captain Jay hesitated. What could 3 humans do against 5 warships? But then he remembered the story Jinho had told about fighting the Dral Empire for 5 years against impossible odds. Maybe humans did know something about combat that others had forgotten. "What do you propose?" "Let me come to your bridge. Let my crew work with yours. We might find a solution that does not involve surrender or death." Captain Jay made his decision. "Granted. Come immediately." 3 minutes later, Jinho entered the bridge, followed by Minji and Hyun. They moved with purpose. Not rushed, but efficient. Jinho went straight to the tactical display and studied it with sharp eyes. 5 ships, all armed. Their formation suggests they plan to surround you and fire from multiple angles. Standard raider tactics. They want to disable your engines first, then board. We know their tactics, Captain J said. But knowing does not help us. We cannot fight 5 ships. Not directly, no, Jinho agreed. But we can change the conditions of the fight. Minji, can you improve their weapon output? Minji was already at an engineering station, her fingers flying across the controls. Your weapons are calibrated for accuracy over power. I can recalibrate them. You will lose some precision but gain 40% more damage output. Do it, Captain J ordered. Hyun moved to the medical station. Your crew will be frightened. Fear makes people make mistakes. I have medications that can help with focus and clarity without affecting judgment. May I distribute them? The medical officer looked at Captain J, who nodded. Hyun immediately began preparing doses, working with practiced efficiency. Jinho pointed at the tactical display. Your ship has better maneuverability than their vessels. They are built for straight-line speed and firepower. If we can draw them into a tight formation, we can use your agility as an advantage. Draw them in? That puts us at greater risk. Yes, but it also gives us opportunities. They expect you to run or hide. If you do something unexpected, it creates hesitation. And in combat, hesitation is deadly. The Krill ships were getting closer. 20 minutes until they entered weapon range. Yuna watched her display, seeing the hostile contacts crawling across her screen like predators closing in on prey. Minji finished her work on the weapons. Recalibration complete. Your guns now hit significantly harder. I also modified your shield harmonics. Their standard weapons will be about 12% less effective against you. How did you do that so quickly? One of the engineers asked. Humans have been fighting wars for our entire history. We learn to innovate under pressure. It is one of our better survival traits. Jinho studied the bridge crew. They were scared. He could see it in their body language. He walked to the center of the room and spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. Listen to me. I know you are afraid. Fear is natural. But fear can be controlled. In the next few minutes, you will face combat. You will see things that terrify you, but you must remember something important. You are not alone. You have each other. You have your training. And you have us. He paused, making eye contact with several crew members. Humans have a saying. We are afraid of the dark, but we light a torch and walk forward anyway. We are afraid of death, but we fight to protect those we care about. We are afraid of failure, but we try again and again until we succeed. Fear does not make you weak. Acting despite fear makes you strong. The crew straightened slightly. The words seemed to help. Yuna felt her own fear lessen somewhat. There was something about the way Jinho spoke, calm and confident, that made her believe they might actually survive this. Captain J stepped forward. The human is right. We will fight, not because we are fearless, but because we have no other choice. All stations report ready status. One by one, the departments confirmed readiness. Weapons charged. Shields at maximum. Engines ready for evasive maneuvers. The Wandering Star had moved into a defensive position beside them, its smaller weapons armed as well. The Krill ships entered communication range. A harsh voice came through the speakers, speaking in rough galactic common. Unknown vessels, you are now property of the Krill Dominion. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in death. Captain J looked at Jinho, who nodded. The captain opened a channel. This is Captain J of the Confederation vessel Velcaris. We do not recognize the authority of pirates. Leave now or face consequences. Laughter came through the speakers. Brave words from dead beings. You cannot win. Surrender or die. Jinho moved close to the communication panel and spoke clearly. This is Captain Jinho of the human ship Wandering Star. We stand with the Velcaris. If you attack humans. Consider very carefully if that is a fight you want. There was a pause, a longer pause than expected. Then the Krill voice returned, but it sounded uncertain. Human, that is not possible. Humans are extinct. We are very much alive, and we remember how to fight. This is your only warning. Leave now. Another pause. Yuna watched her sensors. The Krill ships had stopped advancing. They were holding position, perhaps discussing what to do. The name human had given them pause. Even pirates knew the legends. Then the Krill ships began moving again, faster now. The lead ship opened fire. Energy bolts streaked through space toward the Velkaris. The battle had begun, and there was no turning back now. Jinho smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a predator ready to hunt. Good, they chose poorly. Now we show them what humans can do. The first volley of krill weapons fire hit the shields of the Velkaris. The ship shook violently, and several crew members grabbed onto their stations to stay upright. Alarm sounds filled the bridge, warning lights flashing red. Shields holding at 85%, the tactical officer called out. Their weapons are powerful. Return fire, Captain J ordered. Target the lead ship. The Velkaris' weapons fired, bright beams of energy crossing the space between ships. Thanks to Minji's modifications, the shots hit much harder than normal. The lead krill ship's shields flickered under the impact, and the pirates seemed surprised by the intensity. Jinho stood beside the captain, watching the tactical display with focused attention. Good. Now hard turn to starboard. Make them adjust their formation. Captain J trusted the human's advice. Helm hard starboard, full speed. The ship turned sharply, engines burning bright. The krill ships tried to follow, but their heavier vessels could not turn as quickly. For a moment, the Velkaris was facing only 2 ships instead of 5. Fire at will, Jinho said. Concentrate on one target. The weapons officer needed no further instruction. Both of the ship's main guns focused on the nearest krill vessel. The modified weapons tore into the pirate ship's shields, overwhelming them. One shot punched through and hit the hull directly, causing an explosion on the enemy's port side. Direct hit, the tactical officer announced. Enemy ship damaged. On the view screen, the krill vessel was trailing debris and venting atmosphere. It fell back, limping. 4 enemies remained, but they were angry now. They opened fire with everything they had. Space lit up with weapons fire. The Velkaris shook repeatedly as shots hammered the shields. Warning alarms increased in volume. The shield strength dropped rapidly. 70%, 60%, 50%. Shields failing, someone shouted. Evasive pattern delta, Jinho called out. And deploy the countermeasures. The helmsman executed the pattern perfectly, the ship dancing through space in unpredictable movements. Minji had worked with the weapons team to prepare special surprises. The Velkaris released a cloud of metallic particles and sensor-jamming drones. The krill targeting systems lost lock for precious seconds. Meanwhile, the wandering star entered the fight properly. Despite its smaller size, the human ship moved with incredible precision. It targeted the damaged krill vessel and fired a concentrated burst from its weapons. The pirate ship's remaining shields collapsed and the next shots crippled its engines. Enemy vessel disabled, Yuna reported from her station. 4 active threats remain, but the situation was still desperate. 4 krill warships against 2 smaller vessels. The pirates were coordinating now, learning from their mistakes. They split into 2 groups, trying to attack from multiple directions at once. Hyun moved through the bridge, distributing her medications to the crew. As each person took the dose, their expressions became calmer, more focused. The panic that had been building began to subside, replaced by determined concentration. Jinho studied the enemy movements. His mind worked through possibilities, calculating odds, looking for weaknesses. Then he saw it. The krill ships were powerful, but they relied on their strength. They expected enemies to run or hide. They were not prepared for someone who would do something insane. Captain, I have a plan, but it is dangerous. More dangerous than what we are already doing? Yes, much more dangerous, but it might work. Captain J looked at the tactical display. His ship was taking damage. His crew was fighting bravely, but they were losing. Tell me. We need to make them think we are more damaged than we actually are. Shut down non-essential systems. Vent some atmosphere, make it look like we are dying. When they close in to finish us, we hit them with everything at point-blank range. That is insane. If they do not fall for it, we will be destroyed. Jinho met his eyes. Yes, but if we keep fighting like this, we will be destroyed anyway. This gives us a chance. Trust me. Captain J had a decision to make. Trust this human he had known for only 3 days, or continue the fight his own way. He looked around the bridge at his crew. They were brave, but they were not warriors. They needed an advantage, something unexpected. Do it. All hands prepare for emergency procedures. Jinho moved to the communication panel and opened a channel to the wandering star. He spoke rapidly in human language, words that Yuna could not understand. Minji's voice responded, also in their native tongue. They were coordinating something. Engineering, shut down decks 3 through 6. Vent atmosphere from the port side. Make it dramatic. The engineering team followed orders, though they looked confused. On the exterior cameras, atmosphere began venting from the ship in visible clouds. Internal lights flickered and went dark in several sections. On sensors, the Velkari suddenly looked critically damaged. The Krill saw the signs of a dying ship. Their leader's voice came through the communication channel, victorious and cruel. Your resistance ends now. Surrender and we will be merciful with your deaths. Never. Captain J replied, putting weakness into his voice. We will fight to the last. The Krill ships accelerated, moving in for the kill. They came closer, weapons charging for a final devastating volley. Closer. 300 meters, 200 meters, 100 meters now, Jinho said quietly. Captain J shouted the order. All systems online. Fire everything. The Velkaris came alive like a beast that had been playing dead. Every weapon fired at once, all of them aimed at the 2 nearest Krill ships. At such close range, the shots were impossible to miss. The modified weapons, hitting at full power, tore through shields like they were paper. Explosions bloomed across the hulls of both pirate vessels. Critical systems failed. One ship's reactor went critical, and the entire vessel erupted in a massive fireball. The second ship was crippled, life support failing, engines dead in space. At the same moment, the Wandering Star executed its part of the plan. The small human ship had circled around during the confusion and now attacked from behind. Its weapons were not as powerful as the Velkaris, but Minji had done something clever with the power systems. She had overloaded the weapon capacitors, storing far more energy than was safe. The Wandering Star fired once, releasing all that stored power in a single massive blast. The shot hit the third Krill ship directly in its engine section. The explosion was spectacular. When the light faded, the pirate vessel was breaking apart, debris spinning off in all directions. 3 Krill ships were destroyed or disabled. Only one remained, the last ship suddenly alone and outnumbered. Jinho opened a communication channel. He spoke calmly, but there was steel in his voice. This is your last chance. Leave now or join your companions in death. Choose quickly. The final Krill ship did not respond with words. Its engines flared bright as it turned and ran at maximum speed, abandoning its destroyed fleet. Within minutes, it had jumped to faster-than-light travel and disappeared from sensors. The bridge of the Velkaris was silent for a moment. Then someone started cheering. The sound spread, crew members celebrating their impossible victory. They had faced 5 pirate warships and survived. More than survived, they had won. Captain J slumped in his command chair, exhausted. Damage report. Shields at 20%. Hull damage on multiple decks. Several systems offline. But we are intact, sir. We can repair most of it. Foran stepped forward, looking at Jinho with new respect. That was the most insane battle strategy I have ever seen. It should not have worked. But it did work, Jinho replied. Humans have learned that sometimes the insane option is the only option. We survive by doing what others think is impossible. Minji's voice came through from the Wandering Star. Our ship took minimal damage. The overload trick worked perfectly. Though I would not recommend doing it regularly, we will need to replace several power systems. Worth it, Jinho said. Yuna left her station and approached the humans. Her legs were shaking from adrenaline, but her eyes were bright. You saved us. We would have died without your help. Hyun smiled and put a hand on Yuna's shoulder. That is what friends do. They help each other. Today we fought together. Tomorrow we will explore the stars together. Captain J stood and walked to Jinho, extending his hand. The human took it and they shook firmly. You have my gratitude and my respect. When we reach the Confederation hub, I will personally testify about what happened here. The galaxy needs to know that humans are not just myths, and they are not just dangerous. They are also loyal and brave. Thank you, Captain. That means more than you know. Over the next few hours, both ships worked on repairs. The crew of the Velkaris moved with new confidence. They had faced death and survived. They had fought alongside humans and won. The fear that many had felt toward the humans was completely gone now, replaced by genuine friendship and admiration. As Yuna helped coordinate repair schedules, she realized something important. The legends about humans had been both right and wrong. Humans were dangerous, yes. They were capable of incredible violence when necessary, but they were also capable of incredible friendship and loyalty. They had risked their own ship to save the Velkaris, even though they barely knew the crew. The galaxy was about to learn a valuable lesson. Humans were back and they would change everything. After the battle, the crew needed rest. Captain J ordered shifts reduced and gave everyone time to recover from the stress of combat. The Velkaris and the Wandering Star continued their journey toward the Confederation hub, traveling together now as true allies. That evening, many of the crew gathered in the main common area. It was a large room where people could eat, relax, and socialize during their downtime. Normally it was quiet, with small groups talking among themselves. Tonight it was different. Everyone wanted to be together, to share the experience of surviving something terrible. The humans were there too. Jinho, Minji, and Hyun sat at a central table surrounded by curious crew members. The initial fear was completely gone. Now people wanted to know everything about humanity, about Earth, about the species that had saved their lives. Yuna sat close to Hyun, listening as the human medic described Earth's oceans. Water covers more than 70% of our planet. The oceans are deep, some parts going down 11 kilometers. We evolved on land, but we learned to cross the water in boats and eventually submarines that could go to the deepest places. That sounds terrifying, one crew member said. All that water pressing down, Hyun smiled. It is terrifying. But humans are curious. We always want to see what is beyond the next horizon. What is at the bottom of the ocean? What is on the other side of the mountain? Fear does not stop us. It just makes us more careful. Rico, the scientist, was talking with Minji about human technology. Your engineering is fascinating. You use simple solutions that somehow work better than our complex systems. How Minji thought about her answer carefully. Humans had to learn efficiency. Earth has limited resources. We could not waste anything. So we developed technology that does more with less. Every system has to be practical, reliable, and easy to repair. We do not have the luxury of complicated solutions that break down easily. But you also innovate incredibly fast, Rico said. You modified our weapons and shields in minutes. That would take our engineers hours or days. We innovate fast because we have to. Earth was dangerous. If we did not adapt quickly, we died. That pressure, over thousands of years, made us very good at solving problems under stress. It is in our nature now. At another table, Voran was talking with Jinho about combat tactics. The security chief looked troubled. I have trained for 15 years in military procedures. I thought I understood combat. But today you did things that should not work. You took insane risks. You tricked the enemy into underestimating you. That is not proper military strategy. Jinho nodded. You are right. It is not proper by most standards. But humans learned warfare differently than other species. We fought each other for thousands of years before we went to space. We learned every trick, every deception, every desperate tactic. We learned that rules in combat are suggestions, not laws. The goal is to survive and win. Everything else is secondary. But is it not dishonorable to use tricks and deception? Honor does not matter if you are dead. We believe in fighting smart, not just fighting hard. Yes, we use deception. Yes, we take risks that seem insane. But we also win battles that we should lose. That is the human way. Vorin was quiet for a moment, processing this. I think I understand now why the legends paint you as dangerous. You do not follow the expected patterns. You are unpredictable. Exactly. Predictable enemies are easy to defeat. We learn to be unpredictable. Captain J entered the common area and the room grew quieter. Everyone respected the captain, and they wanted to hear what he had to say. He walked to the central table where the humans sat and addressed the room. Today we faced death together. Today we fought side by side with humans, a species we thought was extinct. Today we learned that the legends were both true and false. I want to thank Captain Jinho and his crew for their help. Without them, we would all be dead or enslaved. The crew applauded, many standing to show their respect. The humans looked slightly embarrassed by the attention but accepted it gracefully. Captain J continued, but I also want to address something important. Many of us were afraid of humans before today. We believed they were monsters, dangerous creatures that destroy everything they touch. Now we know the truth is more complex. He turned to Jinho. Will you tell everyone the full story? Not just about the war, but about human philosophy. Why you fight the way you do. What drives your species? I think we need to understand. Jinho stood and the room gave him complete attention. He looked around at all the faces watching him. Alien faces from different species, all curious and open to learning. Humans have a complicated relationship with violence. We are capable of terrible destruction. Our history is full of wars, conflicts, suffering. We have hurt each other and hurt our planet. That part of the legend is true. We are dangerous." He paused, making sure everyone was listening. "But we are dangerous because we had to be." Earth was a harsh teacher. Everything on our planet competed for survival. The animals that hunt, the weather that kills, the diseases that spread. Nature did not care about fairness or mercy. It only cared about survival. We learned to survive by being tougher, smarter, and more determined than anything else. We learned to endure pain and keep going. We learned to work together in groups because alone we were weak. We learned to fight when necessary, but also when to make peace. Minji added, "Humans have a saying, 'We are the children of Earth, and Earth made us strong.' Our planet taught us hard lessons, but those lessons helped us survive when other species would have given up." Hyun spoke next, her voice gentle but firm. "But being dangerous is not the same as being evil. Humans value life. We value friendship and loyalty. We create art and music. We love and laugh. We are not monsters. We are survivors who learn to be kind despite living in a cruel world." Jinho continued. "When we went to space, we hoped to leave violence behind. We wanted to explore, to learn, to make friends with other species, but we were betrayed and nearly destroyed. That taught us another lesson. The universe can be just as cruel as Earth. So we must always be ready to fight even while we hope for peace. That is the truth about humans. We carry weapons and we know how to use them, but we would rather never fire a shot. We train for war so we can preserve peace. We are strong so we can protect the weak. We are dangerous so that others do not have to be." The room was completely silent. Everyone understood now. Humans were not monsters. They were people shaped by harsh circumstances, who chose to be good despite having the capability to be terrible. Yuna stood up, surprising herself with her own courage. "I have a question. You said humans were betrayed by the Drall. You could have come back seeking revenge. Why did you not?" Jinho's expression became serious. "Because revenge is a poison. Yes, we were angry. Yes, we wanted to strike back at those who hurt us. But we asked ourselves, what would that accomplish? The Drall Empire is gone. The beings who betrayed us are long dead. If we came back with hatred in our hearts, we would become the monsters that the legends say we are. So we chose differently. We chose to let go of our anger. We chose to offer friendship instead of revenge. It was not easy. Many humans argued for war. But in the end, we decided that moving forward was better than looking back." "That is admirable," Captain J said. "Many species would not have that strength. It is not strength. It is wisdom. We learned that hatred destroys the one who carries it. We would rather build a future than dwell on the past." The gathering continued late into the night. People asked questions and the humans answered patiently. They shared stories of Earth's beauty, of mountains that touched the sky, of forests so vast you could walk for days and never see the same tree twice. They talked about human art, music that could make you weep or make you dance. They described human food, the incredible variety of flavors and textures. Slowly, the image of humans as dangerous warriors was balanced by the image of humans as artists, explorers, and friends. The crew began to see the complete picture. Yes, humans were capable of violence, but they were also capable of beauty, kindness, and joy. As the evening ended, Yuna walked with Hyun back toward the sleeping quarters. "I am glad I detected your ship. I am glad I pushed people to investigate. Meeting you has changed how I see the universe." Hyun smiled warmly. "And meeting you has reminded us why we wanted to return to the galaxy. We were isolated for so long. We forgot what it was like to have friends among the stars. You and your crew have shown us that friendship is still possible. What will happen when we reach the Confederation hub? Honestly, we do not know. Some species will welcome us. Others will fear us. There might be conflicts, disagreements, challenges, but we will face them together. You and the Velkaris crew will be our first allies in this new era. That means something important to us." Yuna felt proud of that. She was part of history, the first to detect humanity's return, the first to believe in them, the first to fight alongside them. Whatever happened next, she would be there to witness it. The Confederation hub station appeared on the view screen like a city floating in space. It was enormous, a massive structure that housed thousands of beings from dozens of different species. Ships came and went constantly, traders and diplomats and explorers all conducting business. This was the heart of galactic civilization, where species met to trade goods and ideas, to resolve disputes, and to forge alliances. Yuna stared at it from the bridge of the Velcaris. She had been to the hub twice before, but it never stopped being impressive. Today, though, she felt nervous. What they were about to do would shake the entire galaxy. Captain J stood at his command station, checking everything multiple times. The wandering star flew beside them, its hull repaired and systems running smoothly. The two ships had become a team during their journey, working together so well that it seemed natural. Communication officer, send our identification codes and request docking clearance. Yes, sir. Sending now. There was a brief pause, then a response came through. This is Confederation Control. We have received your codes, Velcaris. We show you have an unregistered vessel accompanying you. Please identify. Captain J looked at Jinho, who nodded. This was the moment. The captain opened a channel. Control. The accompanying vessel is the Wandering Star, registered to Earth. This is a first contact situation. I am bringing human diplomats to meet with the Confederation Council. The silence lasted much longer this time. Yuna could imagine the confusion and disbelief in the control center. Finally, a different voice came through, older and more authoritative. Captain J, this is Station Administrator Kale. Did you say human? As in the extinct species from legend? Yes, Administrator. Humans are not extinct. They have returned to known space and wish to establish diplomatic relations. I have 3 human crew members on my ship who can verify this claim. This is unprecedented. Hold your position. I need to contact the council immediately. The channel went silent. Jinho smiled slightly. They do not believe it yet. That will change when they see us. Are you nervous? Yuna asked him. Yes, very nervous. This is the moment we have been preparing for. Everything depends on how the galaxy receives us. If they welcome us, we can begin building relationships. If they reject us, we will have to remain isolated for who knows how many more years. Minji and Hyun joined them on the bridge. All 3 humans looked calm, but Yuna could sense the tension beneath their composure. This was one of the most important moments in human history. The communication channel reopened. Captain J, you are cleared to dock at Bay 17. The council has called an emergency session. They will meet with you and your guests in 2 hours. Station security will escort you to the council chambers. Understood, Control. Proceeding to Bay 17. The 2 ships moved toward the station, carefully navigating through the traffic of other vessels. When they docked, Yuna saw the crowd that had already gathered. Word was spreading fast. Humans, real humans, were coming to the station. As the airlock opened, a full security team waited on the other side. Their leader, a tall female with blue skin, stepped forward. I am Chief of Security Nara. Captain J, I must ask. Are you certain these beings are human? Absolutely certain, Chief. They saved my ship and crew from Krill raiders. I have witnessed their capabilities firsthand. Nara looked skeptical but professional. The council will determine the truth. Please follow me. Your crew may wait in the guest facilities. The group walked through the station corridors. Everywhere they went, people stopped and stared. Word had spread even faster than Yuna expected. Crowds formed along the walkways, beings from every species pressing forward to catch a glimpse of the humans. Security had to maintain a clear path. Yuna heard whispers all around. Are they really human? They look so small. I heard they defeated 5 Krill ships. The legends say they are dangerous. They should not be here. The humans ignored the stares and whispers, walking with calm dignity. But Yuna noticed their eyes constantly scanning, watching for threats. They were alert but not aggressive, ready but not hostile. The council chambers were impressive, a large circular room with seats arranged in tiers. Representatives from 27 different species sat in those seats, the leaders and decision-makers of the Confederation. They fell silent as the group entered. Administrator Kyle stood at the center. He was an older male from the Andari species with wise eyes and a commanding presence. Captain J, you have made an extraordinary claim. Before we proceed, we must verify it. I have called in our top xenobiologists and historians. They will examine your guests and determine if they are truly human. A group of scientists approached with scanning equipment. The humans submitted to the examination patiently, standing still while the aliens ran tests on their biology, their genetic structure, their physical characteristics. The scientists conferred among themselves, checking results multiple times. Finally, the lead scientist, an elderly female, turned to the council. Her voice shook slightly. Council members, I have confirmed it. These beings match every genetic marker. every biological characteristic in the historical records. They are human. The species we thought was extinct has returned. The council chamber erupted in noise. Representatives shouted questions, some in excitement, others in fear. Administrator Kale called for order, his voice cutting through the chaos. Silence. We will conduct this properly. He turned to Jinho. I am Administrator Kale. On behalf of the Confederation, I welcome you. This is an historic moment, but I must ask many questions. Where have your people been? How many humans exist? What are your intentions? Jinho stepped forward and the room focused on him. Administrator, council members, thank you for this opportunity. I am Captain Jinho. I represent humanity, a species that has been hiding in deep space for 3,000 years. We retreated after a war nearly destroyed us, but we survived, rebuilt and grew strong again. He spoke clearly and confidently, telling the story he had shared with the crew of the Velkaris. He explained the betrayal by the Dral, the decision to retreat, the long years of isolation. He described human colonies, human ships, human civilization that had continued growing in the darkness beyond known space. Today we return not as conquerors but as friends. We want to trade with you, learn from you, share knowledge. We want to be part of the galactic community that we were forced to leave. We offer our skills, our technology, our friendship to any species willing to accept us. A council member stood, a male from the Valorian species. Why should we trust you? The legends say humans are violent and dangerous. You nearly destroyed your own planet with warfare. What guarantee do we have that you will not bring war to us? Jinho met his eyes steadily. You are right to be cautious. Humans are capable of violence. We do not deny our history or our nature, but we have learned from our mistakes. We have chosen peace over war, cooperation over conflict. We will defend ourselves if threatened, but we will never be the ones to start a fight, Hyun spoke up. We understand fear. We have felt it ourselves, but fear can be overcome through understanding. We ask only for a chance to prove ourselves. Let us establish embassies, exchange ambassadors, begin trade relationships. Judge us by our actions, not by old legends. Another council member stood, this time a female with kind eyes. Captain J, you have fought alongside these humans. What is your opinion? Captain J stepped forward. Council members, the humans saved my ship and crew when we faced certain death. They could have fled and preserved their own safety. Instead, they fought with us, risked their lives for beings they barely knew. They showed loyalty, courage, and honor. I believe they are sincere in their desire for peace. Yuna found herself standing as well. I am the one who first detected their ship. I am the one who believed they were real when others did not. I have spent days learning about them, talking with them, fighting beside them. Humans are not monsters. They are survivors who chose to be kind, despite having every reason to be bitter. The galaxy would benefit from having them as allies. The council members discussed among themselves, voices rising and falling. Some argued for accepting humanity immediately. Others wanted more time to study them, to verify their claims. A few expressed outright fear and wanted the humans expelled from Confederation space. Administrator Kale called for order again. We will take a vote. All in favor of recognizing humanity as a sovereign species and opening diplomatic channels, signify now. Hands raised around the chamber. Yuna counted silently. 18 out of 27. More than enough for a majority. The humans were officially recognized. The motion passes. Humanity is recognized by the Confederation. You may establish embassies and begin formal diplomatic relations. Kale's expression softened slightly. Welcome back to the galaxy, humans. You have been gone too long. Jinho bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. Thank you, Administrator. You honor us. We will work hard to prove worthy of your trust. As the formal session ended, many council members approached to speak with the humans personally. Some were genuinely welcoming. Others were still suspicious but willing to give them a chance. Yuna watched as her 3 human friends handled each conversation with grace and patience. Later, in a private meeting room, Captain J, Yuna, and the 3 humans sat together.